Cleveland Guardians look like they are going to lose 6-7 while facing two of the three worst teams in baseball. We're going to talk about what's going wrong with this team, what is shaping up for this last week before the All-Star break, along with talking about the Franmil Reyes trade rumors that popped up this weekend, all on today's episode of Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Locked On Guardians. I am the host of Locked On Guardians, Jeff Ellis, as I have been for all near 800 episodes now of the show. I want to take a moment and say a thank you to, hey, Guardians fans, you're going to love this. Today's episode is brought to you by the Sports Card Investor app. Welcome to the world of trading cards reimagined. Stay tuned later in the show for more information on this awesome new tool for collectors. You're going to want to check out the Sports Card Investor app. So there are some fun things to talk about. I don't want this to seem like to be all negative Nelly in terms of the Cleveland Guardians. Nolan Jones has had a really fun debut. We'll talk about Nolan Jones. And I was pulling up tweets from him. I am the originator of the Cleveland Guardians Nolan Jones fan club, and I can say that because I was mocking him as when he was still in high school to the Guardians. I was talking about why I had him highly ranked. I had him higher ranked than Will Benson. And let's just take a moment and appreciate the fact that draft class right now, the 2016, right? Is that right? No, it's not the 2016. Where is it? I got to pause it because here's the thing. I get years confused. Just like I get pronunciation confused. I got to trust myself. Yes, the 2016 draft class. By the way, before I get into that, I want to thank you for making Locked On Guardians your first listen today and every day, wherever you get podcasts. This draft class very much looks like it has a chance to go down as one of the Guardians' top 5 all time. Let's just talk about the second round, where Nolan Jones was taken. He was nestled between Keegan Aiken and Ben Rodevert, who have both made it to the big leagues. Now, here's where you might get a bit salty. There were some very good players taken not long after him. Brian Reynolds, who it should be pointed out, the Giants believed in so much they traded him away for not really much of a return. And then you have Pete Alonso and Bo Bichette. Well known in this class that the Guardians took Will Benson in the first round. What's kind of funny is you go back and you look at the first round of this draft class. Will Smith, Dylan Carlson, Dakota Hudson, I believe, are the highest value players. Top 10 didn't do much. Cal Quantrill at a 5.3 is honestly is the second most valuable player in this class in terms of WAR. Guys like Gavin Lux and those other players, though, could pop. Eric Lauer has looked very good now that he has left San Diego, leaving the development there. And Ian Anderson is a guy who's had his up and downs. But Mickey Moniak, Nick Senzel, Riley Pint was out of baseball, Corey Ray. I mean, this was a class where from the start, when I remember writing about it, it's like there is nobody at the top. Like everyone was hoping that like AJ Puck would take a step forward, that somebody would sit there and grab. I had Blake Rutherford was my number one player, and I believe when I did my shadow draft, I redid the Guardians picks. So they still had Bieber and they still had Jones, but I had Blake Rutherford going in the first round. And I thought he was the top player in this class. That didn't turn out. We don't always get them all right. But the best players actually came in the second round, which is where Nolan Jones was selected. And like I said, right now, Reynolds, Bichette, and Alonso are the 3 highest rated players from that second round. And if you're kind of curious, just some of the other ones, Zach Gallen in the third round, and Austin Hayes was also in that second round, as well as Alex Call, who's in AAA, has got an opportunity out with the Guardians, and I was making that face. Sean Murphy, because, and I make that face, I gave him a first-round grade in this class. I was very quick to give him, what a catch. By the way, the game's in the 8th inning. I'm watching it, but what a move by Isabel there to get the out. Thought Rosario had a hit. But when you're looking at it, I was so much higher on Sean Murphy than Logan Ice, and I know why. Here's the thing. Sean Murphy broke his hamate bone. I got to see a game where he was in the rain, and he just destroyed the ball, and I believe there was an A's scout there that day. But not a lot of people got a chance to see him because of injuries, even though he had elite pop times, had power potential, just hadn't had a chance to show it. Whereas Logan Ice did at Oregon State, caught fantastic quality pitching as well. Was a bit of a breakout and was a lefty as opposed to righty. The Guardians always seem to like left-handed catchers. So I will tell you I was very high. I remember on Zach Gallen. Also in this round who I really liked was John Duplantier. Just has not worked out for him. But Gallen is like your 4th Highest player, of course, in the fifth round, I should say in the third round, you get Aaron Civale. Shane Bieber in the fifth is actually one of the highest rated players, as one would expect from this class. So if you're looking at the top five, it's Alonso, Bieber, Bichette, Reynolds, and then, man, my memory just not what it should be. Then the last one being Zach Gallen, I believe, slight advantage over Will Smith. And that's why to bring up this class, because Will Benson, we'll see, maybe he gets a chance in the big leagues this year, maybe he doesn't. But you got Nolan Jones, you got Civale, you got Plesac, you got Bieber in this class, and then you traded for Cal Quantrill. It's kind of funny that, putting a group together like that, we're like, okay, so they got all these great players, and then they traded for someone else in this class who became an important part of the rotation, because why that's funny is if you follow trades, they got Quantrill for Clevenger. Clevenger was part of the 2011 draft, which is a fantastic. The Guardians, no, they didn't sign him that year, but they drafted Cody Allen, they drafted Francisco Lindor, they drafted 8 or 9 guys who got to the big leagues. It was one of their best draft classes ever. It's another probably top 5 class. Clevenger was a 2011 pick who they got later on, who it's like it's not part of that class necessarily, but someone else who has brought value from that class. Fifth round, Kevin Biggio, Nicky Lopez, who, changed the game today with his speed. Conner Capel, who made it to the big leagues, the Guardians drafted in this round. Daniel Hudson, who made it to the big leagues for the Guardians, also taken in that round. And just as we go through the sixth round, Tommy Edman, who, by the way, has a higher WAR than Bieber, who is one of the top, might have the highest WAR right now in this class. Tommy Edman in the sixth round, very end of the sixth round for the Cardinals. Seventh round, Sam Huff is your top performer. So this is where we start getting into it because it's later and it's hard. Andre Scrub, not a good sign when your name is Scrub, to the Dodgers is the highest WAR in the eighth. Ninth, you get Tony Gonsolin. How about the St. Mary's College? Again, this is the underrated pitching factory that nobody talks about. Not only was Tony Gonsolin a senior sign for them, they gave him $2,500. Now, if you know anything about senior sign money, that is the absolute pittance. Pittance? I don't think I said that word right. That's the smallest. Like, almost nobody gives that little. Like, the typical senior sign, if you go through, it's $10,000. There is one player, Jesse Schotlins from Wright State, who got $1,000. So he's not the lowest paid player. And there's only a handful, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 5 players in that entire round who didn't get at least $10,000. Tony Gonsolin, who's on his way to being a top 5 Cy Young candidate right now, was a $2,500. Like, that is a massive scouting win. And if you're like, why do you say St. Mary's is a pitching factory? Can I tell you who's from there? Corbin Burns, Tony Gonsolin, Kyle, I'm going to get his name wrong, Baraclow is a recent player. Kai Bush, who went in the second round last year. It's been a lot more interesting players we're seeing come out of that program. They do a fantastic job in terms of pitching and development. And I would always keep my eye on anybody from that program overall. Patrick Wisdom was from there, though that's a batter, not a pitcher. But, when we talk in 3 years at this class, top 5 players, Gonsolin will be among them. And again, about the cheapest bonus you can get. And it doesn't just end there for value. 10th round, Santiago Espinal, who got votes for the All-Star game, went to the Red Sox. Again, not always the team that traps you. The 11th, we often see some overslot deals because that's where teams save money and get someone. Joe Barlow to the Rangers is the most successful player. And the 12th round, you see a little more of that carryover as well. And the 12th round is, I also wanted to go this far because that's where the Guardians got Zach Plesac, who has the highest value in this round. Is one of the top 15, I believe, players overall. So a really good draft class for the Guardians. And Nolan Jones just helps make it an even better draft class. We're going to take our first break here, come back, talk about these games as they are unfolding, and also segment 3, talk about the Franmil Reyes trade rumors, why I believe them and why I don't believe them on today's Locked On Guardians. And our first fantastic sponsor is a product I used all the time, and that was Athletic Greens. And I started using this product literally every day because, I'm going to be honest with my listeners, they send it to me. If you send it to me, I'll try it. There have been items that have been sent to me that I do not enjoy, and then I do not talk about them. A very classic example being with our good friends at Built Bar, their original powder drink mix was not good. I've mentioned this like as a read. I never talked about their powdered mix because now it's fantastic. I have like 3 bags. I love it upstairs. But their original wasn't good. So if there's something that someone sends me, I'm going to try it. And if I don't like it, I just don't talk about it. But I liked this product. It was, full of vitamins and nutrients, and you just get it. It's like taking a multivitamin. But for me, I loved the taste. It was like a earthy taste, which I love. I'm someone who loves like matcha and green teas. Also had a bit of a citrus. And it was just a fantastic product. It helped you feel good. It gave you some energy, and it gave you all the nutrients you could need. And then you got to love a company that is also climate neutral and helps feed kids. That they give nutritious, they give money to No Kid Hungry here in the United States, and they donated over 1.2 million meals. Like, if there's one thing we can all agree on, it's that all kids should be able to eat. So not only are they not only do you get a fantastic product that comes in just an amazing box, everything in there is so good, high quality all around, but the product is high quality, and then they're high quality people in terms of what they are doing for others. And right now, to make it easy, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with a convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packets with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/MLB Network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/MLB Network. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. So let's get into these games. One, let's start with the positive. That Nolan Jones home run, I mean, it was the easiest 475 I have maybe ever seen. Like, I just see that thing shooting out when he hit that one Saturday. And Saturday's game was a lot of fun. The rest of them, not so much. The rest of them kind of want to bang your head. But, man, to watch that and to see it go, I mean, it wasn't just majestic. Like, what a game for him. And then, so let's start Friday. Again, Morgan and Hentges have been really reliable this year, but both of them have seen their ERAs rising. Remember at the beginning, like a month ago, Morgan's was under 2. Now it's over 3. It's been sneaking up there. And the home run is always going to be an issue for him. That has been something a bugaboo his whole career, and that's why it was. So if you go through and you look at something like xFIP, which I don't love because it stabilizes home run rates. What an inning by Nick Sandlin, side note. With all of his struggles, he went through and just had a bit of a beauty there as I was watching on the side. I've given him a lot of guff this year. If he can get back to where he was pre-injury, which is what this inning was, where 1 inning, 2 strikeouts, huge for the Guardians. But get back in this game, Morgan's home run rates were always high, and with xFIP, it makes everyone have the same home run rate because it says typically it's closer to even. Well, we know that's not the case, and that's why I don't really like xFIP, and I don't see most people use xFIP. But there is something to be said for home run rates for a specific player will stabilize over the course of a year. Unfortunately, it's stabilizing a little bit in this one for Morgan, and that's what's leading to his jump. Hentges, they just got to him. I mean, he gave up 2 hits and struck out 1, only 1/3 of an inning to get before the walk-off win. The Guardians got to Singer. Payamps was good. Barlow was fantastic. They had a chance against Barlow, though, and they couldn't get the door shut. How about Andres Jimenez being struck twice in this one? What's the deal with this? I need to look at who's got the highest hit by pitches. He's got to be up there. But for the Guardians overall, they were up 3-1. You enter the 8th, and then I don't know why you don't go Clase in that situation. Honestly, for me, it's a high leverage situation. I don't care this whole idea of saving your closer for the closing situation. Let's go get our closer in a high leverage situation. Error with Rosario. I mean, this was a game they should have won. It's just a lot of sloppy little moments in there. They got the bases loaded in the 9th and couldn't get anyone across. I was trying to think if it was bases loaded with how many outs in this one. So hit by a pitch, force out, walk, single, and then with 1 out and nothing came to be. And then it was double, strikeout, single to Michael A. Taylor, who's all defense. I mean, he's been about as good offensively as Straw throughout his career. And that's the guy who gets the walk-off win. It was a frustrating loss, extremely frustrating. Box score bingo. Cleveland had 9 hits, 1 walk. Again, that's such a low amount for them. So they had 10 opportunities there. The 2 hit batters gives them 12 opportunities. 1 error is a 13. On 13, you're expecting about 4-ish. They got 3. Now, they also had 3 extra base hits. You expect it to be closer to that 4. Unfortunately, it wasn't. On the other side of things, Kansas City had no walks, 10 hits, 1 error. They only had 11 opportunities. That's approaching 3, but they got 4. They were able to tag it together. Players of the game in this one, Franmil Reyes, 2 for 4 with a big home run. Nolan Jones, 1 for 3 with a double. Who reached base twice? Well, Rosario did, Jose did, Franmil did, and Andres did. Andres, I'm going to give the 3rd star in this. Well, let's give it to Civale. I want to give it to Andres because he got beat up, but Civale, I've been rough on him as well this year because, boy, has he struggled. But 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 0 walks, 6 strikeouts. He deserved to win. Just an unfortunate loss. A lot of points where they honestly could have, should have, would have. That's one of those games, and dropped them below 500, which is a real kick in the pants at that point in time. Saturday, this was the fun one. McKenzie, another just stellar outing, though you wonder if it was against a team other than Kansas City. That's the one thing. They had 0 walks the day before. He had 5 walks in this game. That's a high amount. Only 3 hits, but that gets me worried. Only 4 strikeouts. When your walks are higher than your strikeouts, that is not going to be sustainable. But, I mean, the overall performance is good. Karinchak, not ideal to give up 3 base runners. Sure, he struck out 2. Again, I'm fine with living with him for now. You have to see if you're going to keep him. Because at the end of this year, he becomes arbitration eligible, and either you're going to pay him, probably over $1 million plus based on earlier performance because it's the whole picture, or you're going to release him to clear a roster spot. So you need to figure that out. Shaw, is that appearance 35? Did he just make an extra $150,000? Did I miss that already? And then Sandlin, we talked about how he was just nice here in Sunday's game. Really strong performance for him coming out in the, I think I said Sunday. Today's game is Sunday's game, Saturday's game. Rosario got hits. I mean, the Guardians got hit a bunch in this series. Who reached base? Well, it's almost like who didn't reach base twice. Because you had Kwan, Rosario, and Ramirez, and Andres, and Straw all had 3-hit games. Owen Miller was came in as a defensive replacement. He had a hit. Naylor, this is the only game he played in the series. Nice job there in the 9th. I've been banging on Miller and his foibles and struggles, but good job by him. Let's see. So Clement even everyone had a hit. The only person who didn't reach base was when Mercado came in and played some center field, and he went 0 for 2. It's like I said, again, it's easier to say who didn't even reach base twice, and it's Miller, but he only had 2 at bats, and it's Clement, but he only had 2 at bats, and then it's Mercado, and he only had 2 at bats. Everyone who started reached base multiple times. Kwan had 2 doubles. Franmil had a double. Straw had a double. Jose had a double. Luke Maley had a double. Jose Ramirez had a home run, his 17th. Nolan Jones, we talked about that. What an easy 475 off his bat home run. Ahmed Rosario had his 4th home run. He had 11 last year. I was listening to the Kansas City broadcast for the game at one point, and they were talking about the fact that, he's probably not going to get to 11 this year. The power numbers are down for him. Again, I think, and the other thing, he was, 0 for 18 coming into the Kansas City series, his last 18. That's what we're going to get with Ahmed. There are a lot of people who are mad at me for criticizing Tito. There are a lot of people who are mad at me because I criticized Ahmed. But what we have to understand with Ahmed, and where I talked about on Friday, is, it was a little unfair to him. I'm not going to deny that. I was. Because he's going to be streaky, and that's what we saw a year ago. He's going to have points where he is the second best hitter on this team. I mean, there's points one could argue with Jose's thumb, which he now says is fine, but I mean, this 0-5 game, 0-5, losing 5-0 here in the 9th with a runner on third with 2 outs. We'll see if Guardians can get a run across. I don't know. Letting Ernie Clement bat here is might as well say, we're not trying. We're just giving up. He got fooled on that one. But completely lost my point when I was going through with Rosario. He's going to have those points where he's really good and those points where he's really bad. And at the end of the day, he's going to be league average. And then I still think you trade him because, again, if he is, let's just say, this year he's been average to, run across on a wild pitch. Guardians got one. So if you go through this and you look at Rosario, he is average to slightly below average at shortstop. He is average at the bat. Do you really want to pay that guy $6-7 million next year when you have all the internal options at short? I wouldn't. His value is probably at its peak. He's got 1.5 years right now until free agency. I understand he's loved in the clubhouse. He's a great dude, but if you're the Guardians, he's a guy I still consider moving. To get back into this one, and again, I'll admit I was wrong. Error by Owen Miller. It's been rough. It's 7 on the year for a guy who's a part-time player. Very rough for him defensively throughout the year. Players of the game, you give it to McKenzie. Like I said, I have concerns with that box score, but you go 6 innings without giving up a run. You make it. Good on Clement there, for as much as I, again, bash on him. That's a second game in a row where he's reached base with a hit. Then when I'm looking at this overall, I have to give to Franmil again because he had a home run and a double. No, he just had the home run. I was trying to think. Jose gets one for the home run and the double. That's who had 2 extra base hits that were both one a home run, one a double. And then, it's like, who do you pick? You could almost say anyone on the team. At the end of the day, I think you got to give it to either. Let me look. So Rosario did have a hit by pitch, so he technically reached base 4 times. I don't know if anyone else reached base 4 times in this one outside of Nolan Jones. So you know what? Nolan Jones is your third star. He's going to do it 2 games in a row. First major league home run, 457. And it was the easiest 457 you'll ever see. He reached base 4 times, had 2 walks and 2 hits. What a debut. He gets a star for the second game in a row. Andres, it's a point in the game where you want him to come through. He's 0-2 right now. We'll see what happens. Again, it's a 5-1 game. I'm not holding out too much hope here in the 9th. But Saturday's game was fun. Got him back to 500. This game looks like they will fall below here. We are going to take our third break, come back and talk about today's game, and then also talk about the Franmil rumors and why there is some smoke and why there is no smoke. The Sports Card Investor app is the future, and the future's now. Why do I say that? Because I see a lot of apps that do similar things to the Sports Card Trader app, but not necessarily for sports cards. It's the first card app I've seen that does this for sports cards. It's a free app. You scan your cards. It helps you see what they're selling for, what they've sold for over the last 7 days, over the last 30 days. You can find the best prices and buy directly through the app with the eBay Deals feature. Browse over 630 cards with more coming every week, not just baseball. You can also sit there and find Marvel cards and other sports. Just go check it out for yourself. It's a lot of fun. Or maybe there's that card you want to track down, a card that was a favorite as a kid that you lost. I have them, but a card set of mine would be the McDonald's did rookie cards that did a whole basketball set, and I completed the whole set. The other was like Shaquille O'Neal's rookie season. Somewhere I've still got that. I collected that entire set, but a set like that's a little different, a little fun. You can find that info over at the Sports Card Investor app today. Download their Sports Card Investor app today, available for free in Google Play and Apple app stores, or go to sportscardinvestor.com/lockedon. Actually, go there because that probably helps us more. Check it out today. I use it. It's fun. If you're someone who likes sports and you've collected your cards, it's not just to necessarily see value, but the nostalgia factor is fantastic. So I apologize for that ad read where you notice in the middle of it, the game ended on the strikeout there. So this game was frustrating. Naylor was, before the game began, he had to sit down because his back is still bothering him. Let's see. So I've realized I never went back to it. So Shaw is up to, in terms of appearances, why is it not popping up for me? He is at 35. So congratulations to Brian Shaw. Saturday's game made him $150,000. Let's ring that bell. But overall, on this Sunday, I didn't do the box score. Man, I'm just leaving. We have to do box score bingo. It's going to be a fun one for the Saturday game. But the game on Friday, this is another one. Friday. The game on Sunday, I don't know if I even want to say it's missed opportunities. It was just not a great played game offensively for the Cleveland Guardians. But before we get into that, let's do something fun. Let's do the box score bingo on a day where a team had 23 hits and 5 walks and a hit batter. So that's 6 via walk. They had 30 opportunities. 23 hits, 6 walks, plus the hit, 5 walks and a hit batter and the error. It should be about 10 runs. A little bit more, though, when you consider the fact that they had, 1, 2, 3 home runs and then 2, 4, 5, 6 doubles. Yeah, 13 seems about right. On the other side, 6 walks and 7 hits. They had 14 opportunities. They should have had close to 5 runs for Kansas City. They had 1. Not a great performance for them. But yeah, let's just take a moment and revel in that, because the game today, not so much. Going through for Cleveland, Plesac gave up 4 runs, 3 earned, and one could say he pitched better than this. That he's going to, 3 earns in 5 innings, because you go back to the 5th. That's really where things turned. That's where 3 runs were given up. And you talk about that 5th inning, so I just want to pull it up and get this correctly. So it starts with a strikeout. Nicky Lopez was walked. That hurts them because I don't know. There's no one to fault here. Like, Jose got rid of the ball quickly. He got it to second. Nicky Lopez, I don't know if he was running with the pitch. I kind of came late into this one and threw it on, and I was like watching the highlight. But he hustled, and he beat the throw to second base, which I know shouldn't be able to happen, but it did. And him beating that throw completely changes this inning, because otherwise, if they get him out there, then when Andrew Benintendi singles, Lopez doesn't score. It's still a 1-0 game. And then Jose has a fielding error. If he doesn't have a fielding error, you're out of the inning right there. It's a 2-0 game. Kansas City doesn't get all those other runs across. And yes, at the end of the day, they still get, the 1 in the 5th, and they still get the 1 in the 6th. So it's 3-1, and they still lose. But chances were there. Just looking overall at the box score for Cleveland, they didn't walk a ton in this one. So it's like, who reached base twice? This is where I kind of get my comeuppance, as it were, right? Because you look at the multi-time. Owen Miller had a hit and a walk. Nolan Jones had a hit and a walk. Ernie Clement had a hit and a walk. It's the guys I have been. Now remember, I have been the ultimate reverse jinxer this year, so maybe my luck is coming together. Jose Ramirez had another hit in this one as well. Ahmed, it's continuing to go down because this is a cool time. This is what he does. He's super hot. He's super cold. And no matter how you feel about him, he is in that off period. And go look a year ago. It's like he'd have a 150 runs created plus 1 month, and then he'd fall to 80. Then he'd be at 130, and then he'd have a month at 60 and 70. So when he is not playing well, he should be lower in the lineup, because we know this is what he does. This is historically what he does. Don't stick with a lineup every day just because, I don't know, of comfort or your belief or whatever, if you're not performing well. Like, if he is a guy who goes up and down, when he is up, absolutely leave him there. Right now, he's not up. I wouldn't leave him there. Miller was your only extra base hit in this one. Jose Ramirez had a stolen base as well. Again, not bad for Plesac. Hentges, it's been bad. It's not gone well for him. He is struggling something mightily overall. I don't know if teams now have seen that, because here's the thing. Let's be honest about Hentges. I didn't think they should keep him at the end of last year. That was a bad take. That was a wrong take. But my one concern with him has always been it's a flat fastball. And I don't know if he's getting overexposed, if maybe he is more of a loogie and that works best. I'm not sure what's going on here. But this is a guy, you go back to June 24th, he had a 1.44 ERA. Since then, 2 runs given up, 1 run given up. He gave up 0 runs against New York, but let's see. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 outings. He's given up a run in 6 of his last 7 outings. Something's changed. I don't know what it is, but he has been a lot more hittable. The control hasn't been as strong as well. He started walking more guys, and that was more of an issue in the minors. You go back, the control was a little bit better, but he's been a lot more hittable. That's the thing, and he's not missing as many bats as he did. So again, I'm not sure if it's his role being expanded because he had been so good. I mean, I call it for a role expansion, but the one thing we have to point out with Hentges, and the reason that I was kind of like, listen, just don't bother. I thought he and JC Mejia, I thought Mejia was more someone to keep than him, even though he's the big lefty. I really need to sit there and drill deep and trying to figure out what's going on. But the fastball isn't really a plus pitch in spite of its velocity. And I don't know if teams are now kind of teeing up on it, but something is wrong there and something is just not working. And he pitched twice in this series and he gave up a run in each of those appearances. And Yale came in for a third of an inning to help get Hentges out of that jam, and he was solid. Trevor Stephan continue. I mean, he's a low 3 ERA. And then Nick Sandlin, again, 2 games this series. Good on Sandlin. Players of the game in this one, 3 stars. Owen Miller had the only extra base hit, so Owen Miller gets 1. He also scored the only run, so he definitely gets 1. I'm going to give 1 to Sandlin because that's 2 strong performances overall in this series, and it's great to see that for him. If he can get back to where he was, that'll help with this pen, because the pen is like this close to being good, right? Like, Stefan is solid. Clase is an all-star. Shaw, whatever we say, we say. Hentges is more of a loogie type. I think that's his best role. I think he got overexposed a little bit because he looks so good, and then he tried. And again, I was all for that. And Yale has earned his spot. It's a bullpen that's very close to being solid. To not just being solid, but being like a top 10 bullpen. So I still have a lot of faith in that bullpen. And then, you know what? Nolan Jones was a player of the game in the other 2 games, and he went 1 for 3 with a walk and a single. So we're going to give him the 3rd player of the game in this one because, he gets the 3rd. He's one of the 3 stars because what a debut by the rookie. I've been doing some victory laps because of how he's played. And, like I said, you can go back to his draft year. He was a player that I was all over. I had him very highly rated. Everyone came off of him last year as a 22-year-old in AAA struggling while dealing with injuries. He went from a top 100 at points, top 40 prospect who just kept moving down list. He has his limitations, but he's a better athlete than he's ever gotten credit for. He has easy power, and that's the thing. Go back and watch Saturday's game. I love the prospect depth in the Guardian system, but they don't have a lot of guys with big power. There's John Kenzie Noel, there's George Valera, and there's Nolan Jones. And Nolan Jones is a guy who is a potential 30 home run guy. He just is. There's some Carlos Santana, there's some Russell Branyan to that profile. And I think we saw, again, he's going to have a few weeks where he goes like 0 for 16 and strikes out 10 times. That's part of the package as well. This was a fantastic debut. He has definitely taken to coaching. He's definitely made some adjustments, and I am looking forward to more Nolan Jones. Listen, I've already gone over 30 minutes, and they don't want us doing it anymore, so tune in to tomorrow's show. We'll lead off by talking about Fran Mill. It's hard when I got 3 weekend games to catch up on and a spectacular rookie debut. Not the best weekend, not the best few weeks, but if we want something positive, let's focus on Nolan Jones and his fun debut. It was also fun just to see how much of his family was there and enjoying it. I wish the organization, we've seen so many teams, like when Julio Rodriguez got called up with Seattle, it's like those debut things, like where they tape them, and like it would have been nice if the Guardians took that step forward, if they had done the whole like, we're going to have someone in the room and recording when he gets his promotion, or we're going to do something fun. It was a little, inglorious. It wasn't a big deal. I agree with people who are like, it'd be nice if we had one of these big things like a lot of teams are doing. Didn't happen for Nolan, but what a weekend for him, in spite of a hard weekend if you're a Guardians fan. I've been Jeff Ellis. This has been Locked On Guardians Baseball for this week. Remember to tune in tomorrow where I will get into the nitty-gritty of Fran Mill, who's been one of their best hitters, but why he may or may not be someone they look to trade. And as I end every show, go Guardians, go.